that I would like to discuss is investigating. If we examine the sales call, there are four primary stages. You have your opening, your investigating, your demonstrating of capabilities, and finally obtaining commitment. If we look at each of those stages, we need to determine which is the most critical. Often salespeople and sales leaders think that the obtaining commitment is the most crucial stage. Considering sales today, they would be absolutely true. That is very important. However, the most important stage is the investigating stage. Huthwaite's research showed that often failure in obtaining commitment is due to poor investigating skills. So since investigating skills is so important, we really need to dive into how to properly investigate to ensure that we set ourselves up for success. Now, if we think about investigating, the primary purpose of investigating or the frame or skill that's used is questioning. Now, I would ask you to consider, what is the primary purpose of asking questions? One might think to engage the customer or to uncover information. Well, I would suggest that the main purpose of asking questions would be to uncover and develop needs. And that's where SPIN comes in beautifully. SPIN is the acronym used and the framework that can be used to ask questions. S of SPIN stands for situation, P stands for problem, I stands for implication, and N stands for need, payoff. As we look at questions, we can also think about the research and what was found as Huthwaite looked at average versus excellent sellers to determine what separated the two. And they found there were three fundamental characteristics that separated average versus excellent sellers. The first characteristic or thing that was done by an excellent seller was that they allowed the customer to talk more during sales calls. Secondly, they asked more questions. Thirdly, they talked about their products or solutions later in the call. So as you look at the second point, they asked more, better, impactful, strategic questions. And that's what SPIN allows you to do, to ask better questions to uncover and develop needs. So I would like to briefly talk about each of the questions because all questions are not created equally. Those four types of questions are uniquely different. And I want to start with situation questions. So situation questions gives the seller an opportunity to validate their research, to hear from the customer their critical success factors, their business goals, so that you start to get a good understanding as a seller of the lay of the land or the current situation. Problem questions. Problem questions start to take that situational information and start to identify what are the challenges, issues, or concerns that the client is currently experiencing. And we're identifying problems that we can solve. So we're thinking about our solutions, our resources, our capabilities, and based upon those capabilities, what are the problems that can be addressed with our capabilities, and then ask our questions accordingly. After identifying those particular problems, we're starting to understand what are the implications, which would be the I, of living with those problems. If not solved, what are the consequences? What are the cost ramifications, both short and long term, to better help the customer assess the size and the scope of those particular business issues? And then lastly, need payoff questions. And need payoff questions starts to ask or seek insight from the client to have them articulate what is the value of eliminating or addressing those issues. I really would like to stress the point that they seek or ask the client versus the seller telling the client, because we know that clients tend to act upon and do what they feel or what they say versus what they're told. So by using those questions, we're not robotic. we have a conversation to better assess and qualify the opportunity, but more importantly, to uncover and understand and develop what the client needs are. And many times you can create value by helping the customer think about an unrecognized problem. So spin can be used to really start to be more advisory and consultative in your investigating approach.